Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Vince Taglavia. We're going to watch a little bit of the DNC today. Thank you for joining me. I'm live on X and everywhere else, YouTube. Good to see y'all over there. Thank you for tuning in, hitting the like button, subscribing, all that jazz. I appreciate it. We just missed Chuck Schumer speaking at the DNC in Chicago tonight. It's Tuesday. This is day 2. We're going to listen to the tail end of this thing, see what is said and what's going on. I hope you're all looking forward to it. We'll also be talking about some breaking news from today and just some of what's going on in the world and hanging out for the evening. So thank you all for joining me. And I'm looking forward to this. If you're not already, follow me on X. Just search my name, Vince Tagliavia, Vince T-A-G, and you'll see me pop up. My beautiful face will pop up right there for you. Let's see here. Let me see if I could. My mic's giving me issues. I need to order a new one, but my audio's okay. Give me a 5.5 if my audio's okay. Let's see who we got here in the chats. What's up, folks? What's up? Good to see you. Are we firing on all cylinders here? Thank you for the likes over there. Thank you. We'll get this party going. They're playing some ads right now, so no big rush. This is kind of a chill stream. I'm, taking it easy. Had a long day. I'm sure y'all did too. You're probably just all settling in, having dinner and unwinding. It's all good. They've got an ad playing right now, so let's see. We did have a really interesting podcast Theo Von released. Theo Von's a comedian, a stand-up comedian. He had Trump on his podcast, and I watched about 15 minutes of it just through clips. I want to watch the whole thing, but he talked about Trump's brother and addiction with Trump today, and I watched about a 9-minute clip on that. And by the way, Bernie Sanders is walking out right now, so we're gonna cut to that here in just a second and listen to Bernie Sanders. Let me know what you guys think about Bernie Sanders in the comments here. I haven't seen Bernie Sanders since he was in Seattle. Here he is. Oops. Let's cut over to that. Why don't we?
Fellow Americans, it is an honor to be with you tonight because we're laying the groundwork for Kamala Harris to become our next president.
Okie dokie.
And let me tell you why that is so important. I want you all to remember where we were 3.5 years ago. We were in the midst of the worst public health crisis in 100 years and the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. 3,000 Americans were dying every day, and our hospitals were overwhelmed with COVID patients. All across the country, businesses were shutting down. Unemployment was soaring. Workers were losing their health insurance. Schools were closing. State and city budgets were running out of money. People were being evicted from their homes. Children in America were going hungry. That was the reality the Biden-Harris administration faced as they entered the Oval Office. A nation suffering, a nation frightened, and people looking to their government for support. And within 2 months of taking office, our government did respond. We passed the American Rescue Plan, which provided $1,400 for every man, woman, and child in the working class.
Oh yeah, that was great, wasn't it? That didn't contribute to
We
inflation.
extended and expanded benefits for the unemployed. We provided emergency assistance for small businesses to stay open. We guaranteed health care coverage to tens of millions of Americans through one of the largest expansions of Medicaid in history. We provided rent relief and mortgage assistance, which prevented tenants and homeowners from being evicted.
Lots of handouts.
We established emergency food programs for hungry children and the elderly, and protected the pensions of millions of union workers and retirees from being slashed by up to 65%. Oh, and by the way, we cut childhood poverty by over 40% through an expanded child tax credit. Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, Vice President Harris. Thank you, Democratic Congress. Now, I say all of this not to relive that difficult moment,
Hey,
but to
Quantum.
make one simple point. When the political will is there, government can effectively deliver for the people of our country.
I don't know how I feel about so much government.
And now we need to summon that will again,
Summon it.
because too many of our fellow Americans are struggling every day to just get by,
No kidding.
to put food on the table, to pay the rent, and to get the health care they need.
So now they're gonna fix it.
Brothers and sisters, bottom line, we need an economy that works for all of us, not just the billionaire class.
I knew it was coming. The billionaire class. Classic. Isn't he a multimillionaire now?
My fellow Americans, when 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck, the top 1% have never, ever had it so good. And these oligarchs tell us we shouldn't tax the rich. The oligarchs tell us we shouldn't take on price gouging. We shouldn't expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision. And we shouldn't increase Social Security benefits for struggling seniors.
Okay.
Well, I've got some bad news for them. That is precisely what we are going to do. And we're going to win this struggle because this is precisely what the American people want from their government.
Okay.
And my friends, at the very top of that to-do list is the need to get big money out of our political process.
Not gonna happen.
Billionaires in both parties should not be able to buy elections, including primary elections.
All right. Yeah, right. That's gonna happen.
For the sake of our democracy, we must overturn the disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision.
Left Maryland. Bread lines are a good thing, Bernie Sanders. Wow, did he really say that?
And move toward public funding of elections.
Public funding of elections, huh?
And let me tell you what else we must do. We need to join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a human right, not a privilege. We need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage.
Gosh, that doesn't fix it. That does not fix anything.
We need to pass the PRO Act so that workers can organize in unions and gain the decent pay and benefits they deserve. We need to strengthen public education, raise teachers' salaries, and make sure that every American, regardless of income, receives the higher education he or she needs. We need to take on Big Pharma and cut our prescription drug costs in half so that we no longer pay any more than other countries.
Didn't Trump do that?
Joe and Kamala made sure that no senior in America pays over $35 a month for insulin.
Trump did it first.
We need to make sure that reality is true for every American.
Right. All right, Bernie.
I look forward to working with Kamala and Tim to pass this agenda. And let us be very clear. This is not a radical agenda. But let me tell you what a radical agenda is. And that is Trump's Project 2025.
That's not Trump's. Project 2025 is not Trump.
At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, giving more tax breaks to billionaires is radical. Putting forth budgets to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid is radical. Letting polluters destroy our planet is radical.
Okay.
And my friends, we won't let that happen. Fellow Americans, in the last 3.5 years, working together, we have accomplished more than any government since FDR.
What? Wow. No.
But much, much more remains to be done. We must summon the courage to stand up to wealth and power and deliver justice for people at home and abroad. Abroad, we must end this horrific war in Gaza. Bring home the hostages and demand an immediate ceasefire.
All right.
At home right here, we must take on big pharma, big oil, big ag,
Big egg?
big tech,
Big tech, okay.
and all the other corporate monopolists whose greed is denying progress for working people.
Jeez.
On November 5th, let us elect Kamala Harris as our president,
Select.
and let us go forward
Select
to
or
create
elect?
the nation we know we can become. Thank you all very much.
Bernie Sanders, everybody. Wow, that was quite the speech there. Bernie. Wow, he just wants to go after all these monopolies and all this. The billionaires are a big problem. Don't look at me, who's now a multi-millionaire. It used to be millionaires and billionaires. Now it's billionaires and trillionaires. They're going to fix all the problems and all the wars that began under the Biden-Harris administration. So, you know, I guess better late than never, but, you know.
Chicago!
Whoops.
We're a great American city in a proud blue state. Our patriotism was formed in frost and in fire, and in the steel we forged to survive both. Our love of country has been a tapestry of faith that weaves from Abraham Lincoln reuniting a house divided to Barack Obama declaring blue states and red states make one United States.
Nobody talks like that. It's such a phony way of speaking, but okay.
Now, Illinois' presidential pedigree is unmatched. And given that Vice President Kamala Harris spent some of her early life right here, I speak for the entire Illinois delegation when I say, we claim her too! Now, one president we will never claim is the con artist the Republicans nominated in Milwaukee last month. Donald Trump once called Chicago embarrassing. To quote a great Chicagoan who won 6 world championships on these very grounds, we take that personally.
He's not talking about sports. He's talking about business and crime.
I had to govern for 2 years while Trump was president. Let me tell you what's embarrassing. In Illinois, we passed a massive bill to fix our roads and bridges. When Donald Trump proposed his own plan, he turned right around and called it stupid. We eliminated the grocery tax. Donald hasn't been in a grocery store since his first bankruptcy. Illinois invested in clean energy and the jobs it brings. Donald claimed that windmills in the ocean made the whales a little batty. During COVID, we supported small businesses and jobs. And Donald told us to inject bleach.
No, he didn't. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Good to see you.
Donald Trump thinks that we should trust him on the economy because he claims to be very rich. But take it from an actual billionaire. Trump is rich in only one thing: stupidity. Now, I meet with business leaders all the time, and there's one universal thing they all need: people. They need more workers to fill all the jobs they have. But the anti-freedom, anti-family policies of MAGA Republicans are driving workers away. Here's the thing. Americans don't want to be forced to drive 100 miles to deliver a baby because a draconian abortion law shut down the maternity ward.
Deliver? I'm so confused.
Americans want the hope of giving birth through IVF, not the fear that it might be taken away. Americans with LGBTQ kids don't want them facing discrimination at school because the state sanctioned it. Americans want to go to their neighborhood grocery store and not have to worry about some random guy open carrying an AR-15.
Never. No.
Americans don't want their kids to be taught in history class that slavery was a jobs program.
What?
And if Americans are black or brown, they want to get promoted at work without being derided as a DEI hire for the sin of being successful while not white.
All right.
Let's be clear. It's not woke that limits economic growth. It's weird.
Huh?
And these guys aren't just weird, they're dangerous. Democrats are for lower taxes and higher wages, less inflation and more business growth. We just think it's wrong to craft those policies for Elon Musk and not for everyday working people.
Wow.
That includes a secure retirement and good health care. We think the government should help you prosper, not police who you're sleeping with. More than anything, Democrats want economic policies that are kind, not cruel. But Trump chooses cruelty every time.
No.
After all, everything he's achieved in his own life has been by hurting someone else. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, well, they've spent their lives lifting people up, not pushing them down. They know that a White House that leads with kindness looks at someone who is struggling and sees not what they might cost society, but what they might create for it. Americans want policies that give every American a chance to make it to the middle class. They want to grow small businesses, and Democrats want to cut taxes for everyday people.
All right. By the way, there are
More than anything, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want a country.
arrests underway because of the protesters burning American flags and whatnot outside the DNC convention. This is night 2 of the DNC that we're watching. It's hard to watch, but I thank you all for joining, liking, subscribing, all that stuff, reposting on X. Let's get back to it here.
About Donald Trump, he's not bringing anyone any kind of serenity. We have a choice, America, between the man who left our country a total mess and the woman who has spent 4 years cleaning it up. And I think it's time we stop expecting women to clean up messes without the authority and the title to match the job. Vice President was a good title for Kamala Harris, but you know an even better one? President of the United States of America. Let's go get him!
Okie dokie. I don't know much about this dude.
Welcome, former chair and CEO of American Express and current chair and managing director of General Catalyst, Ken Chenault.
Ken Chenault.
World. And that's
Great.
not
Sorry about that.
by accident. The United States is the best place in the world to do business because of the values on which our country was built. Democracy, the rule of law, free and fair elections, the peaceful transfer of power. As a business leader, I have seen firsthand why democracy is so important. Democracy provides the foundation upon which American business and our economy depend. Character and values matter. In business,
True.
Nothing is more important than trust. In America, we have to trust our president will protect democracy. We have to be certain they'll follow the law and serve the nation, not themselves. Business requires stability and certainty that our democracy will endure. Our economy and democracy are tightly linked. Both only grow stronger when Americans, despite our differences, are willing to work together. At this moment, when our politics pits one group against another, that's what's remarkable about Kamala Harris. She is for all Americans. She understands it's possible, in fact necessary, for a president to be both pro-business and pro-worker. Kamala Harris understands that government must work in partnership with the business community. She knows that a market-based economy needs a strong and effective government. Kamala Harris understands that we need to help entrepreneurs turn good ideas into thriving companies, that we can create good-paying jobs by helping manufacturers expand. Kamala Harris believes in growing the economic pie for the benefit of current and future generations.
It's going to be hard to grow.
Unlike
They're
her
taxed
opponent, she
much.
knows the way not to build an advanced economy is a broad tariff that would only raise prices,
That's what
hurt
she's
consumers
doing.
and businesses, and cost jobs.
Didn't she just announce
She
an
knows
increased
the
tax?
way not to do it is to give people like me a tax cut when that money should be invested to grow the middle class.
That's so crazy.
If you want to lead, you have to be willing to serve. Kamala Harris's vision for the economy serves us all. She has demonstrated throughout her career that she wants to serve all people and wants all Americans to have the opportunity to work to achieve their own share of the American dream. Our economy goes up and down, but the reason America is the strongest nation in the world is because of her commitment to something bigger than ourselves, our commitment to each other, to democracy. That's what this election is about. It's more than a choice between two parties or sets of policies. It's a choice about who we're going to be as a country. In his words and actions, Kamala Harris's opponent has shown us that he does not believe in our democratic values, and he will seek only to serve himself and his desire for vindication and vengeance. Kamala Harris will face the facts. She will navigate this country, the greatest country in the world, through the inevitable challenges, while also leading with the hope and values that America was founded on.
Man.
Kamala Harris understands that the role of a leader is to instill hope, to repudiate the merchants of fear, and focus on ensuring that the best days are ahead of us. She believes in America, its principles, the hopes and dreams of our people, and the promise of our future. That is why I believe Kamala Harris should be the next president of the United States of America. God bless America.
So they're bringing up these billionaires and millionaires and CEOs, and they're saying, don't tax the poor, don't tax the middle class, tax us. Tax us. They're gonna play this. They're gonna play this Trump ad. I'm gonna cut from that and talk a little bit about what's going on over there on X right now. Rich commenting, how many lies can we take? It is difficult to watch, I'll admit. Let's see here. Let's go to my X profile and look at some of what is going on. We had this Santino here. If you're not following Santino, please do follow him. He's on top of the news. Breaking alert 20 minutes ago, DNC convention, massive standoff. Protesters clash with Chicago police in West Loop as the DNC continues. A group that has invoked the riotous convention of 1968 and has threatened to shut down the DNC protested at the Israeli consulate, 500 West Madison Street. Chicago police clashed with protesters on Madison Street near Accenture Tower, I don't know how to pronounce this, on Tuesday night after the demonstrations marched into a line of officers in riot gear. Santino writes, a police supervisor eventually declared it was an unlawful assembly. The protesters walked directly into a large group of police officials, 4 officers deep, around 7:30 p.m., leading the police to push everyone back. Police then moved officers with helmets to the front. At least 3 protesters have been detained. You see a Palestine flag flying, a lot of media there, lines of law enforcement there with their helmets on. Thank you, Santino. Shout out to Santino at Michael S. Colura. Give him a good follow over there. And we're going to cut back to the DNC here. Oh, whoops. Let's see here. Let's go full screen. How about that?
Passed away after a battle with colon cancer, and it's personal to me. At 2 years old, my sister was diagnosed with a tumor that was incurable and made her uninsurable by the time she was 3. And it's personal to Americans across the country who know what it's like when someone they love gets sick. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to dismantle our healthcare system, repeal the Affordable Care Act, and eliminate protections for pre-existing conditions. Either these guys don't get it, or they just don't care.
Yeah, people should look into cancer, huh?
You know who gets it? Kamala Harris gets it, and she cares. As Attorney General, she took on drug companies that jacked up prices and hospitals that overcharged patients. And when Republicans tried to kill the Affordable Care Act, she stood up in the Senate, voting not just no, but hell no.
Oh, take it easy.
And Kamala Harris hasn't just stopped Republicans from making our healthcare system worse. She fights every day to make it better. And I know. I spent 20 years working to get Medicare the ability to negotiate lower drug prices. As Vice President, Kamala Harris delivered it. You know what Donald Trump delivered? Junk plans, higher premiums, and abortion bans.
Right. No. He actually gave it to the states to decide.
And if you don't think a second term would be worse, then I've got a box of Trump steaks to sell you. We have not just a better choice. America, we have the best choice. Yes, we do. Kamala Harris will protect your right to care. She'll cap drug costs, she'll go after corporate price gougers, and ensure every woman who needs it can access reproductive health care. That's the president I want. And that's the president America needs. And with your help, that's the next president of the United States. President Kamala Harris.
Alrighty then. Thank you all for joining me tonight. There's been a few arrests outside the DNC. There you go, big, got a good shot of the crowd there, wide shot.
I love you too. Y en español, los quiero. So, my mom, like Kamala's mom, got sick. When my mom died in 2021, Kamala called me. She had lost her mother to cancer in 2009. Kamala helped me navigate my grief. She said that heartbreak and loss are the price for having loved and having been loved. How I wish our mothers could be here to see this moment.
Of course. Everybody's bringing a very heartfelt story to the table today.
America will invariably have moments of great sadness and pain in our country. Some will be natural disasters. Some will be man-made disasters. We need a president who can not only be commander-in-chief, but also consoler-in-chief. We need a president with empathy, capable of lifting us up when we are down. We need a president who is capable of holding us in a big, great hug when we need it. That is Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is only capable of holding two things, a grudge and a golf club.
Okay. That's a burn on Trump, I suppose. He holds a golf club. It's all a lot. They talk about Trump a lot. Not a whole lot of.
I remember when Kamala was first running for district attorney, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know if she's tough enough," and I just had to laugh because I'm like, "You don't know my sister."
Kamala ad. Yeah, I noticed they're bringing a lot of emotional stories to the table, which is quite interesting, if you ask me, today and yesterday. We'll get back to that in just a moment here. Just getting back to some of these alerts, arrests underway. Thank you, Santino, 16 minutes ago. Protesters are burning the American flag and the Jewish flag as police make arrests outside the DNC convention. We have some footage here from Fox News. Let's take a quick look at that.
Burning right now. They burned an American flag and a Jewish flag, or a combination of the Stars and Stripes and the Magen David. And that's when we saw a conflict right away, because someone came in and stopped them from burning the flag. Wow. And then we saw some pushing and shoving. It looked like it was going to turn into a fight. But I should mention that this demonstration, this group calls themselves Behind Enemy Lines. You can see a lot of the familiar clothes. They made a very deliberate confrontation with the police here. Burning right now. They burned
Wow, wow, wow. So, definitely an escalation from what we saw yesterday. I know there are protests that were organized online for every day this week in Chicago. I just hope that things stay peaceful over there, man. I really do. I do. By the way, please repost this live stream if you would. I'm gonna repost it too. I appreciate that. Savannah Hernandez is boots on the ground over there. Protest coverage, political commentary, proud American, formerly 3 times banned on X, aka Twitter. Oh gosh, I hate it when I say that. Savannah Hernandez is on the ground, and she said that she's outside the Planned Parenthood mobile health clinic that patients are actively walking in and out of. So far, she's watched 1 male patient and 3 female patients enter the truck. They are registering, or patients pre-registered to receive abortion pills or vasectomies, with Planned Parenthood filling up every appointment slot. I tried to interview a patient as she left, but I was quickly stopped by the Planned Parenthood staffers. So they have this like healthcare truck situation out there, interesting, in Chicago at the DNC. So that's Savannah Hernandez, boots on the ground. Okay, good. I'm following her. Let's see at her latest posts. She said that Kamala's rally in Milwaukee has been crashed by pro-Palestinian protesters screaming "Free Palestine." They could be heard throughout the arena, but they were removed apparently. And we didn't see a lot of that yesterday. I did only see one small group that was protesting in the crowd at the DNC yesterday. So today, same thing. In the morning. Yeah, okay. Cometh. That's great. Wonderful. This is just wonderful. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for reposting, following, subscribing, liking. Thank you for those of you there over there on YouTube. I appreciate you all. We're going to keep watching this and get into some breaking news later, perhaps. If anything's really breaking, go ahead and tag me on X, put it on my radar, and I'll share it with all y'all. But I just want to listen to some of these speakers tonight. I think we have some Obama maybe coming later or something. So,
I feel a little out of place tonight, but I feel more at home here than in today's Republican Party.
Why does he feel out of place?
The grand old party has been kidnapped by extremists and devolved into a cult. The cult of Donald Trump. Trump doesn't know the first thing about public service. Like a child, he acts purely out of self-interest. We all need an adult in the White House, and we've seen what happens when we don't have one. Trump made a lot of lofty promises: unlimited economic growth, American manufacturing reborn, a secure border. Turns out Donald Trump was all talk. He wanted our votes, but he couldn't deliver a thing. But these days, my city of Mesa, Arizona is on the move. I'm going to ribbon cuttings every single week, all because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris reached across the aisle and they delivered for my conservative community and countless more across the country. My hero, John McCain, taught us to put country over party. And that's how Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will lead too. I have an urgent message for the majority of Americans who, like me, are in the political middle. John McCain's Republican Party is gone, and we don't owe a damn thing to what's been left behind. So let's turn the page. Let's put country first. Let's put adults in the room where our country deserves. Thank you.
It's our dream to have a large family.
Being a parent, it's the most important.
All right, y'all. I'm going to cut. Let's go to Twitter while they play this ad. A nice, wonderful, heartfelt ad, but I also want to fit in some of this breaking news, y'all. Some of this breaking news, if I may. There have been some arrests made tonight at the DNC, people burning flags, etc. If you're just tuning in, I'm just recapping real quick. We did have this. The Hodge twins is mentioning this again, and Elon Musk published an interesting unscientific poll. Unscientific, okay? But let's start with the Hodge twins. RFK Jr. Hodge twins wrote, quote, RFK Jr. dropping out and endorsing Trump will put this election out of reach for Democrats. Cheating won't even be able to get them over the top. Their only card left will be violence of some kind. A horrible thought. Hodge twins is saying that because there's murmurs out there today that RFK may join forces with Trump. And this comes after a few days ago, New York came and wouldn't allow RFK on the ballot. Trump said he's up for it. They'd go with it. So if there's any RFK supporters out there, let me know your thoughts on that. I was talking to some of y'all about a week and a half ago, and the sentiment with these hardcore RFK supporters were that he's got this, he's gonna win, he just needs to get on the New York ballot. And then a couple days later they decided not to let him on there, which was interesting. So that's not good. That's not good for him. So yeah, I mean, if RFK joins Trump, that really could possibly be something big. Elon Musk posted this unscientific poll. He said, since a lot of people have asked, here goes a super unscientific poll. Almost 2.2 million votes. Who would you vote for, Trump or Kamala? 77.4% out of 2.182 million votes have chosen Trump. 77.4% in favor of Trump, 22.6% in favor of Kamala. Of course, this is just the people that follow Elon Musk on X or follow somebody who's reposted this on X. So Elon Musk is saying this is unscientific. Take it, as what it is. It's just a poll on the internet, right? I kind of look at all polls and take them all with a grain of salt, but look at that, 2.182 million votes. That is pretty remarkable, I will say. Let's go back here to the DNC and hear these wonderful messages, right? Thank you guys for enduring this with me, by the way. I'll keep my eyes on the chat.
I was only able to have them through the miracle of IVF.
We're back. Sorry about that.
But now, Trump's anti-woman crusade has put other Americans' right to have their own families at risk. Because if they win, Republicans will not stop at banning abortion. They will come for IVF next. They'll prosecute doctors. They will shame and spy on women. And if you think that's far-fetched, just look up what happened in Alabama last year. So let me say to every would-be parent, I see you, I'm with you. And together, in November, we'll send a message to old Cadet Bone Spurs. Stay out of our doctors' offices, and while you're at it, out of the Oval Office too. Look, my struggle with infertility was more painful than any wound I earned on the battlefield. So how dare a convicted felon like Donald Trump treat women seeking health care like they're the ones breaking the law? How dare J.D. Vance criticize childless women on cable news, then vote against legislation that would have actually helped Americans to start families? How dare the GOP endanger the dreams of countless veterans whose combat wounds prevent them from having kids without IVF, punishing our heroes for their willingness to serve? It's simple. Every American deserves the right to be called mommy or daddy without being treated like a criminal. Kamala Harris believes that.
Yeah.
So
Remy says
let's
she's
make
cray
some
cray.
history and elect her in November. God bless America.
You know, reproduction is a very important thing, and I think everybody agrees on that. Cancer, very important thing. Everybody, left and right, agrees on that. The problem is these things go much deeper than just what we see here on the surface, and everyone needs to educate themselves on a deep level of what's going on. You know, it's all these issues are very, very tricky to navigate. You really have to do your due diligence in order to get to the crux of it, or get to the root of the issue, you know. So thank you all again for tuning in. We are going to be looking at breaking news and watching the DNC. They're playing an ad right now, so what I'm going to do is go back to X here and see what's going on. This was an interesting post by J.M. Giordano at JMGPIX on X. He's a photojournalist and author. He said that police in Chicago are arresting members of the press, and he posted this picture here of somebody with a helmet that says press being arrested. And we've seen this before with a lot of other protests, so it makes me wonder, did this person commit a crime? And do they just happen to have a helmet that says press? So I've seen things like this before. I'm curious on more information. Maybe let's go to J.M. Giordano's profile and see if we have more. Nope, that was 24 minutes ago. Police in Chicago. Just more standoff videos and whatnot from day one. Some images from day one in Chicago. Ooh, what is that? Some kind of smoke demonstration. Yesterday also we saw them take down some of the fences. Today they've doubled up on the fences at the DNC. Luckily law enforcement did crack down pretty good fairly quickly yesterday, and hopefully prevented anything from escalating too much, which, let's face it, we need to see peace, right? I mean, I think I saw that there were actually 6 murders in Chicago yesterday. That, you know, every day we see a number of those cases happening in Chicago. But it's interesting that these protesters are being put out, or they're convening in Chicago right now, and they're coming up in U-Haul trucks. They've got a lot of signs that are pre-made being dropped off. They're very organized, yet the police and law enforcement seem to be doing a fairly good job at clearing locations and kind of arresting people who are breaking the law, etc. So it's a kind of interesting, strange dynamic compared to other protests that we've seen in the past, I will say. You know, let me see if I could find the images of that U-Haul truck. Yeah, here it is. Let me share this with you. This was an interesting one, guys. And this is nothing new. We've seen stuff like this before. Nick Sorter, thank you for posting this. He says, who's paying for the massive unruly protests? U-Haul trucks, thousands of professionally made signs, truckloads of food and water, staffers, hotel rooms, airfare. They're shipping in people. Some kind of, he says this is not some sort of grassroots effort. So who's behind it? That's Nick's opinion. Here's that U-Haul truck and video from the ground earlier today in Chicago. I'm just going to pan over here to the grass and you can see some of the piles of signs, people unloading, that's 3 U-Haul trucks. So there was a production of these signs prior to this event, I'm sure weeks in advance maybe even. I'm going to mute this because all we can hear is tape, and that's just annoying. But yeah, it's just an interesting video from the ground. 3 U-Hauls in a row on the side of the road. Let's see what we got here. We got another speaker. I'm expecting more speakers tonight.
My big, beautiful,
big ones will probably be at the end of the
family
show.
up there.
We'll probably get big speakers.
I love you so much. Aren't you proud of Cole? Wow. And a special shout out to my mother. I see you.
It's weird.
My mother is the only person in the whole world who thinks Kamala is the lucky one for marrying me.
Oh, this is Kamala's husband?
And to Kamala, who, well, we just saw where she is. She's out on the trail listening to and talking with voters. Honey, I can't wait for you to come back to Chicago because we're having a great time here. I love you so much. I'm so proud of how you're stepping up for all of us. But that's who she is. Wherever she's needed, however she's needed, Kamala rises to the occasion. And she did it for me and our family. And now that the country needs her, she's showing you what we already know. She's ready to lead. She brings both joy and toughness to this task, and she will be a great president we will all be proud of. Now, I'm the son of two Brooklynites, Mike and Barb. They've been together almost 70 years. My dad worked in the shoe business in Manhattan, and he moved our family out to New Jersey. Where's New Jersey? I see you out there. When I was a little kid. And in a lot of ways, I had a typical Jersey suburban childhood. I biked around the neighborhood. I took the bus to Hebrew school. And I rode to Little League practice in the way back of my coach's wood-paneled station wagon. And if we did well, we got to have a Slurpee after. In my neighborhood, everyone left their garage door open. Wherever you ended up at dinner time, that's the family that fed you. Everyone took care of everyone else. And the guys I grew up with are still my best friends. The group chat is active every day, and it's probably blowing up right now, guys. When my dad had to get a new job, we moved across the country to LA. Money was tight. Hey, California. Money was tight, so I worked at McDonald's in high school for some extra cash. Not only was I Employee of the Month, but I still have the framed picture, which you just saw, and there was a ring, golden arches and all. And then I waited tables, parked cars. I was working full-time so I could afford to go to college part-time. And thanks to partial scholarships, student loans, and a little help from my dad, I got myself through law school. And I got my first job as a lawyer, which is also where I met the guys in my fantasy football league. And a lot has changed in our lives since the early 90s, but my team name is still Nirvana. Yes, after the band. I worked hard, and I love being a lawyer. And by the way, I still get to be part of the profession by teaching students at Georgetown Law School. I got married, became a dad to Cole and Ella. Unfortunately, I went through a divorce, but eventually started worrying about how I would make it all work. And that's when something unexpected happened. In 2013, I walked into a contentious client meeting. We worked through the issue, and by the end of the meeting, the now happy client offered to set me up on a blind date, which is how I ended up with Kamala Harris's phone number. Now, for generations,
how relatable, right?
People have debated when to call the person you're being set up with. And never in history has anyone suggested 8:30 a.m. And yet,
what does this have to do with the election,
that's
guys?
when I dialed. I got Kamala's voicemail, and I just started rambling.
Hey, it's Doug. I'm on my way to an early meeting.
What is this?
Again, it's Doug. I remember I was trying to grab the words out of the air and just put them back in my mouth. And for what seemed like far too many minutes, I hung up. By the way, Kamala saved that voicemail, and she makes me listen to it on every anniversary. But that message wasn't the only unusual thing about that day. Now, Kamala, who normally would have been working hard at her office, just happened to be waiting at her apartment for a contractor to do some work on her kitchen. I was eating at my desk, which was not a regular occurrence for a busy lawyer like me who appreciated a good business lunch. But that's when she called me back. And we talked for an hour, and we laughed. Well, you know that laugh. I love that laugh.
How relatable, right, guys? I don't know what this has to do with
And
anything except
maybe
building rapport.
that counted as our first date. Or maybe it was that Saturday night when I picked her up and told her, buckle up, I'm a really bad driver. Because you can't hide anything from Kamala Harris, so you might as well own it. And as I got to know her better and just fell in love fast, I learned what drives Kamala. And it's what you've seen over these past 4 years.
Don't say Barry.
And especially these past 4 weeks. She finds joy in pursuing justice. She stands up to bullies just like my parents taught me to. And she likes to see people do well, but hates when they're treated unfairly. She believes this work requires a basic curiosity in just how people are doing. Her empathy is her strength.
Empathy is the strength, huh? What about policy? What kind of policy?
Over the past decade, Kamala has connected me more deeply to my faith, even though it's not the same as hers. She comes to synagogue with me for high holiday services, and I go to church with her for Easter. I get to enjoy her mom's chili relleno recipe every Christmas, and she makes a mean brisket for Passover. It brings me right back to my grandmother's apartment in Brooklyn, you know, the one with the plastic-covered couches.
Super
But
relatable,
Kamala
right,
has
guys?
fought against anti-Semitism and all forms of hate her whole career. She's the one who encouraged me as second gentleman to take up that fight, which is so personal to me.
I want brisket now. Uh-oh. This is a connection issue on their end. I apologize for the interruption. I'm hungry now. He's talking about briskets and whatnot.
Those of you who belong to blended...
Oh, gosh. I apologize for this interruption. It should get back on track here momentarily. Here, why don't we switch over as this...
families know that they can be a little complicated. But as soon as our kids started calling her Mamala, I knew we'd be okay.
They're so
Ella
right?
calls us a three-headed parenting machine. Kamala and Kirsten, thank you both. Thank you both.
Cassandra
For
said,
always putting your family and the kids first.
if there's anything we love about Kamala, it's her
Now,
laugh.
Cole and Ella's friends knew that when they'd come over for Sunday dinner with Mamala, it was going to be real talk.
Mamala, gosh.
In between taking cooking instructions, they'd have to answer questions about what problem they wanted to solve in the world. They learned that you've always got to be prepared because Kamala is going to prosecute the case. And in the same breath that Cole and Greenlee told us that they were engaged, they asked Kamala to officiate their wedding. And in the same way that she always steps up when it matters, Kamala put so much time into those remarks, and she bound them in a book that matched her dark red dress, and then turned that into a gift for the happy couple. A few days ago, during this incredible time we're going through, there was a brief window when Kamala was back at home. And I saw her sitting on her favorite chair, And in the middle of a wild month, I just hoped that she was having a quiet moment to herself. But then I realized she was on the phone. And of course, my mind went to all the potential crises that the vice president could be dealing with. Was it domestic? Was it foreign? Was it campaign? I could see she was focused. And all I knew was that it must be something important. And it turns out it was. Ella had called her. That's Kamala. That's Kamala. Those kids are her priorities, and that scene was a perfect map of her heart. She's always been there for our children, and I know she'll always be there for yours too.
Yeah, look how happy
Kamala
she
is a joyful warrior. It's doing for her country what she has always done for the people that she loves.
Joy,
her passion will benefit all of us when she's
Joyful
our
warrior.
president.
There were a lot of headlines yesterday. Joy was in the headline.
And here's the thing about joyful warriors. They're still warriors. And Kamala is as tough as it comes. Just ask the criminals, the global gangsters, and the witnesses before the Senate Judiciary Committee. She never runs from a fight. And she knows the best way to deal with a coward is to take him head on. Because we all know cowards are weak, and Kamala Harris can smell weakness. She doesn't tolerate any BS. You've all seen that look, and you know that look I'm talking about. That look is not just a meme. It reflects her true belief in honest and direct leadership. And it's also why she will not be distracted by nonsense. Kamala knows that in order to win, we cannot lose focus. America, in this election, you have to decide who to trust with your family's future. I trusted Kamala with our family's future. It was the best decision I ever made. This Thursday will be our 10th wedding anniversary, which I know it means I'm about to hear that embarrassing voicemail again. However, that's not all I'll be hearing. That same night, I'll be hearing my wife, Kamala Harris, accept your nomination for President of the United States.
By the way.
And with your help, she will lead with joy and toughness, with that laugh and that look, with compassion and conviction. She'll lead from the belief that wherever we come from, whatever we look like, we're strongest when we fight for what we believe in, not just against what we fear. Kamala Harris was exactly the right person for me at an important moment in my life. And at this moment in our nation's history, she is exactly the right president. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. That was Kamala's husband. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Very heartfelt story. Nothing about policy, nothing about much there except Kamala's so relatable. She's great for me. She'll be great for you. Okie dokie. You guys are cracking me up in the comments, by the way. Thank you, Quantum. Thank you, Rumi, Blackchester, Lisa. Thank you for the donations, Rumi and Lisa. I appreciate that. And thank you, Left, for coming in. I think you took off, but it was good to see you. And thank you. Shout out to all y'all on YouTube as well for being there. And X, Cassandra, thank you so much for chit-chatting with me in the chat. Appreciate that. Is this Michelle Obama? Here we go, folks. What y'all been waiting for. So please repost this, share it, like it, comment. Let me know what y'all think about this. Let's listen to Michelle Obama. She looks fantastic, by the way, right? Am I right or am I wrong? So we have one moment here. We're going to let them cheer. They're very excited. How long are they going to cheer? Oh, her heart. She's filled with love. They're very excited. We should get Barack here pretty soon, too. But, guys, I think Barack Obama's going to speak. We'll see what he has to say. I think he actually wrote all of these speeches, but I don't know.
Big night ahead. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much.
Cassandra says, please no. Enjoy. Let's hear it. She probably has a good heartfelt story for us.
Okay.
My pleasure, Quarantine. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that.
Hello, Chicago! Yeah. All right. Something wonderfully magical is in the air, isn't it? Yeah. You know, we're feeling it here in this arena, but it's spreading all across this country we love. A familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for far too long. You know what I'm talking about. It's the contagious power of hope.
That's Obama's.
The anticipation, the energy, the exhilaration of once again being on the cusp of a brighter day. The chance to vanquish the demons of fear, division, and hate that have consumed us and continue pursuing the unfinished promise of this great nation, the dream that our parents and grandparents fought and died and sacrificed for. America, hope is making a comeback. Yeah. But to be honest, I am realizing that until recently, I have mourned the dimming of that hope. And maybe you've experienced the same feelings, that deep pit in my stomach, a palpable sense of dread about the future. And for me, that mourning has also been mixed with my own personal grief. The last time I was here in my hometown was to memorialize my mother, the woman who showed me the meaning of hard work and humility and decency, the woman who set my moral compass high and showed me the power of my own voice. Folks, I still feel her loss so profoundly. I wasn't even sure if I'd be steady enough to stand before you tonight, but my heart compelled me to be here because of the sense of duty that I feel to honor her memory and to remind us all not to squander the sacrifices our elders made to give us a better future. You see, my mom, in her steady, quiet way, lived out that striving sense of hope every single day of her life. She believed that all children, all people have value, that anyone can succeed if given the opportunity. She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed. They understood that it wasn't enough for their kids to thrive if everyone else around us was drowning. So my mother volunteered at the local school. She always looked out for the other kids on the block. She was glad to do the thankless, unglamorous work that for generations has strengthened the fabric of this nation. The belief that if you do unto others, if you love thy neighbor, if you work and scrape and sacrifice, it will pay off. If not for you, then maybe for your children or your grandchildren. You see, those values have been passed on through family farms and factory towns, through tree-lined streets and crowded tenements, through prayer groups and National Guard units and social studies classrooms. Those were the values my mother poured into me until her very last breath. Kamala Harris and I built our lives on those same foundational values.
Told you, heartfelt
Even though
stories.
our mothers grew
All
up
of
an
them.
ocean apart, they shared the same belief in the promise of this country. That's why her mother moved here from India at 19. It's why she taught Kamala about justice, about the
Uh-oh. Technical
obligation to
difficulties.
lift others up, about our responsibility to give more than we take. She'd often tell her daughter, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So, with that voice in her head, Kamala went out and she worked hard in school, graduating from an HBCU, earning her law degree at a state school. And then she went on to work for the people, fighting to hold lawbreakers accountable, strengthening the rule of law, fighting to get folks better wages, cheaper prescription drugs, a good education, decent health care, child care, elder care. From a middle-class household, Kamala worked her way up to become Vice President of the United States of America.
Thank you, I don't recall. I appreciate that.
My girl, Kamala Harris, is more than ready for this moment. She is one of the most qualified people ever to seek the office of the presidency. And
Just look at her track record, right, Michelle?
she is one of the most dignified. A tribute to her mother, to my mother, and to your mother too.
Don't talk about my
The
mama, Michelle,
embodiment
please. I don't
of
think
the
so.
stories we tell ourselves about this country. Her story is your story. It's my story. It's the story of the vast majority of Americans trying to build a better life. Look, Kamala knows, like we do, that regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love, how you worship, or what's in your bank account, we all deserve the opportunity to...
Pardon me, I'm back.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
Generational wealth. I mean, come on. What is wrong with being successful in America and then having generational wealth? I don't understand.
If
Is that
we
everybody's goal?
bankrupt
Gold?
a business,
Gold.
if we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No. We put our heads down. We get to work. In America, we do something. And throughout her entire life, that's what we've seen from Kamala Harris. The steel of her spine, the steadiness of her upbringing, the honesty of her example, and yes, the joy of her laughter and her light. It couldn't be more obvious. Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
You're saying make America great again.
Now, unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Wait. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs? Look, it's his same old con. His same old con. Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better. Look, because cutting our health care, taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters. Shutting down the Department of Education, banning our books, none of that will prepare our kids for the future. Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love, look, that doesn't make anybody's life better.
What about policy?
Instead, it only makes us small. And let me tell you this, going small is never the answer. Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential.
Wow. There's a whole lot's being said, but nothing much being said, in my opinion. It's a lot of heartfelt stories and this and that. They're having connection issues on their end. I apologize for this brief interruption, folks, but we're watching Michelle Obama. She said the presidential job, who's going to tell Trump it's a black job? It's pretty cool.
Why would any of us accept this from anyone seeking our highest office? Why would we normalize that type of backward leadership? Doing so only demeans and cheapens our politics. It only serves to further discourage good, big-hearted people from wanting to get involved at all. America, our parents taught us better than that, and we deserve so much better than that. That's why we must do everything in our power to elect two of those good, big-hearted people. There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No other choice.
Well, there's JD and Trump, right? Trump and Vance.
But as we embrace this renewed sense of hope, let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against.
Emotion.
Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good. But remember, there are still so many people who are desperate for a different outcome, who are ready to question and criticize every move Kamala makes, who are eager to spread those lies, who don't want to vote for a woman, who will continue to prioritize building their wealth over ensuring that everyone has enough. So no matter how good we feel tonight or tomorrow or the next day, this is going to be an uphill battle. So
True.
Folks, we cannot be our own worst enemies. No. See, because the minute something goes wrong, The minute a lie takes hold, folks, we cannot start wringing our hands.
Oh, is it a lie
We
about to take
cannot
hold?
get a Goldilocks complex about whether everything is just right. And we cannot indulge our anxieties about whether this country will elect someone like Kamala instead of doing everything we can to get someone like Kamala elected. Kamala and Tim, they have lived amazing lives. And I am confident that they will lead with compassion, inclusion, and grace. But they are still only human. They are not perfect. And like all of us, they will make mistakes. But luckily, y'all, this is not just on them. No, this is up to us, all of us, to be the solution that we seek. It's up to all of us to be the antidote to the darkness and division. Look, I don't care how you identify politically, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above. This is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right.
That was a deep call
to
action.
stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity, for basic respect, dignity, and empathy, for the values at the very foundation of this democracy. It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain, do something. So, if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something. If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in,
really
we got to
calling for
pick
action.
ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what? We
crazy,
only
guys.
have 2.5 months, y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan. So, we cannot afford for anyone America to sit on their hands and wait to be called. Don't complain if no one from the campaign has specifically reached out to you to ask you for your support. There is simply no time for that kind of foolishness.
That's foolish.
You know what you need to do. So, consider this to be your official ask. Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something.
This is history in the making, folks. Michelle Obama.
Because
They're chanting "Do something" in the background. This is wild, guys. This is really wild. Thank you for tuning in, by the way.
this election is going to be close. In some states, just a handful, listen to me, a handful of votes in every precinct could decide the winner. So we need to vote in numbers that erase any doubt. We need to overwhelm any effort to suppress us. Our fate is in our hands. In 77 days, we have the power to turn our country away from the fear, division, and smallness of the past. We have the power to marry our hope with our action. We have the power to pay forward the love, sweat, and sacrifice of our mothers and fathers and all those who came before us. We did it before, y'all, and we sure can do it again. Let us work like our lives depend on it. And let us keep moving our country forward and go higher, yes, always higher, than we've ever gone before as we elect the next president and vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thank you all. God bless.
Oh, I've been saying his name wrong this whole time. I thought it was Waltz, like the dance. That was Michelle Obama, everybody. What'd you think about that? Very relatable, huh? You know what I noticed? Oh, she's not done.
Now, before I go, I have one more job tonight.
What is it?
Yeah. One more job. You all, thank you for all the love, but it is now my honor to introduce somebody who knows a whole lot about hope. Someone who has spent his life strengthening our democracy, and let me tell you, as someone who lives with him, he wakes up every day, and thinks about what's best for this country. Please welcome America's 44th president and the love of my life, Barack Obama.
So I noticed her speech was tied into other speeches, actually, which was really interesting. When she mentioned Kamala's story or other stories intertwined with her speech. So all these speeches are kind of coordinated together, which is interesting. And here's Barack Obama coming out to take the podium and deliver his speech. A lot of these are very sentimental. They're calling to action. It's all this kind of thing here. So let's see what Obama brings to the table tonight, day 2 of the DNC. Let's give him a moment here. The crowd's cheering. I think he's ready to go here in a moment. He's clapping with the audience. I'm just waiting here.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
All right. That's enough. Thank you. Chicago! It's good to be home. It is good to be home, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up. I am feeling ready to go. Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama. I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible. Because we have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you. The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. It's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back, I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president. Other than some common Irish blood, Joe and I come from different backgrounds, but we became brothers. And as we worked together for 8, sometimes pretty tough years, what I came to admire most about Joe wasn't just his smarts, his experience. It was his empathy and his decency and his hard-earned resilience, his unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot. And over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most. At a time when millions of our fellow citizens were sick and dying, we needed a leader with the character to put politics aside and do what was right. At a time when our economy was reeling, we needed a leader with the determination to drive what would become the world's strongest recovery. 15 million jobs, higher wages, lower health care costs. At a time when the other party had turned into a cult of personality, we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country. History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend. Now, the torch has been passed. Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight. For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes, this will still be a tight race in a closely divided country. A country where too many Americans are still struggling, where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help. And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. The other day I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president, it's just dangerous. The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help.
Whoa. All right, I apologize for that, folks. I don't know, I have a big interruption. Let me see if I can fix this. It's maybe okay trying to catch up here. It's done this a couple times from their feed. I'm not sure why. Let me see. Let me cut just to me and see if I can fix this for us real quick. We're listening to Barack. Okay, we're good. We're good. Obama. It's lagging, guys. I don't know what their issue is here, but it's on their end. It appears I'm firing on all cylinders here. But man, he's going on about Donald Trump right now and how Trump only cares about himself, and you know, this narrative. He said their obsession with crowd sizes is weird, carrying on that weird narrative that we've heard going on for quite a while. I don't know what the problem is here, guys. I apologize for this technical difficulty. I don't know if you guys are having the same problem. Let me know if you are. Maybe I could do let me see if I could refresh, but I think this is actually their feed issue, so I apologize for that. We're good. We're back. Let's go. No, it keeps lagging. What is going on here? I just want to hear Barack Obama speak. This is history in the making. Darn.
This is a person who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and a champion. As you heard from Michelle, Kamala was not born into privilege. She had to work for what she's got. And she actually cares about what other people are going through. She's not the neighbor running the leaf blower. She's the neighbor rushing over to help when you need a hand. As a prosecutor, Kamala stood up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse. As an attorney general of the most populous state in the country, she fought big banks and for-profit colleges, securing billions of dollars for the people they had scammed. After the home mortgage crisis, she pushed me and my administration hard to make sure homeowners got a fair settlement. Didn't matter that I was a Democrat. Didn't matter that she had knocked on doors for my campaign in Iowa. She was going to fight to get as much relief as possible for the families who deserved it. As vice president, she helped take on the drug companies to cap the cost of insulin, lower the cost of health care, give families with kids a tax cut. And she is running for president with real plans to lower costs even more and protect Medicare and Medicaid, and sign a law to guarantee every woman's right to make her own health care decisions. In other words, Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is. And in the White House, she will have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town.
Oh gosh, here we go, guys. I don't know what their issue is with their feed. My goodness. What is up, y'all? What is up? He's going on Tim. My goodness. I apologize here. I don't know what the problem is. Are you guys getting this issue? If no one's watching elsewhere. Oh gosh. We're back.
They have been through some stuff. That's right.
Are you kidding me? I'm firing on all cylinders. This is a travesty. What is going on here? Come on.
We can find a way to live.
I don't know why this feed is so interrupted. And this is the DNC's feed here. The Democratic National Convention's feed.
Our job over the next 11 weeks is to
What is going on?
Convince as many people as possible to vote for that vision.
Can we full screen?
Now, it won't be easy. The other side knows it's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism, always has been. They will tell you that government is inherently corrupt, that sacrifice and generosity are for suckers. And
Nobody
since
ever
the
said that.
game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own. That's the easy path. We have a different task. Our job is to convince people that democracy can actually deliver. And in doing that, we can't just point to what we've already accomplished. We can't just rely on the ideas of the past. We need to chart a new way forward to meet the challenges of today. And Kamala understands this. She knows, for example, that if we want to make it easier for more young people to buy a home, we need to build more units and progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage, protecting millions more from unscrupulous insurance practices. I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it Obamacare no more.
Since it's become popular.
But Kamala knows we can't stop there, which is why she'll keep working to limit out-of-pocket costs. Kamala knows that if we want to help people get ahead, we need to put a college degree within reach of more Americans. But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class. We need to follow the lead of governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government. And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares about the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work, to care for our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages. We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president. Yes, she can.
It's interesting to look at their faces, huh?
Yes, she can. A Harris-Walz administration can help us move past some of the tired old debates that keep stifling progress. Because at their core, Kamala and Tim understand that when everybody gets a fair shot, we are all better off. They understand that when every child gets a good education, the whole economy gets stronger. When women are paid the same as men for doing the same job, all families benefit. They understand that we can secure our borders without tearing kids away from their parents. Just like we can keep our streets safe while also building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve and eliminating bias. That will make it better for everybody.
Same. Oh my gosh, guys.
Donald Trump and his well-heeled donors, they don't see the world that way. For them, one group's gains is necessarily another group's loss.
What does that mean?
For them, freedom means that the powerful can do pretty much what they please. Whether it's fire workers trying to organize a union, or put poison in our rivers, or avoid paying taxes like everybody else has to do.
What?
Well, we have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for your family if you're willing to work hard. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send your kids to school without worrying if they'll come home. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, what our family looks like, how many kids we have, who we marry. And we believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay. That's the America Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believe in. An America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our politics might suggest, I think most Americans understand that.
Despite what our politics might suggest.
Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by. It's the way we treat each other, including those who don't look like us, or pray like us, or see the world exactly like we do. That sense of mutual respect has to be part of our message.
You guys notice anything?
Our politics have become so polarized these days that all of us across the political spectrum seem so quick to assume the worst in others, unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side. And after a while, regular folks just tune out.
That's all this has been.
Or they don't bother to vote. Now that approach may work for the politicians who just want attention and thrive on division. But it won't work for us. To make progress on the things we care about, the things that really affect people's lives. We need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices, and that if we want to win over those who aren't yet ready to support our candidates, we need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all, if a parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up. Our fellow citizens deserve the same grace we hope they'll extend to us. That's how we can build a true Democratic majority, one that can get things done. And by the way, That does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off. No nation, no society has ever tried to build a democracy as big and as diverse as ours before. One that includes people that over decades have come from every corner of the globe. One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood, but by a common creed. And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer. And dictators and autocrats feel emboldened. And over time, we become less safe. We shouldn't be the world's policemen, and we can't eradicate every cruelty and injustice in the world. But America can be and must be a force for good. Discouraging conflict, fighting disease, promoting human rights, protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom, brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, and so do most Americans.
Alrighty then. Look at that crowd.
I know these ideas can feel pretty naive right now. We live in a time of such confusion and rancor.
I'm not confused at all. Are you?
With a culture that puts a premium on things that don't last. Money, fame, status, likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones. We build all manner of walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other and troll each other and fear each other. But here's the good news, Chicago. All across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors. We still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. We share the same pride when our Olympic athletes compete for the gold. Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided. We want something better. We want to be better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these past few months because, as Michelle mentioned, this summer we lost her mom, Ms. Marion Robinson. And I don't know that anybody has ever loved their mother-in-law any more than I love mine. Mostly it's because she was funny and wise and the least pretentious person I knew. That, and she always defended me with Michelle when I messed up. I'd hide behind her. But I also think one of the reasons Mary and I became so close was she reminded me of my grandmother, the woman who helped raise me as a child. And on the surface, the two of them did not have a lot in common. One was a black woman from right here, south side of Chicago, right down the way. Went to Englewood High School. The other was a little old white lady born in a tiny town called Peru, Kansas. Now, I know there aren't that many people from Peru. And yet they shared a basic outlook on life. They were strong, smart, resourceful women, full of common sense, who, regardless of the barriers they encountered, and women growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they encountered barriers. They still went about their business without fuss or complaint and provided an unshakable foundation of love for their children and their grandchildren. In that sense, they both represented an entire generation of working people who, through war and depression, discrimination and limited opportunity, helped build this country. A lot of them toiled every day at jobs that were often too small for them and didn't pay a lot. They willingly went without just to keep a roof over their families' heads, just to give their children something better. But they knew what was true. They knew what mattered. Things like honesty and integrity, kindness and hard work. They weren't impressed with braggarts or bullies. They didn't think putting other people down lifted you up or made you strong. They didn't spend a lot of time obsessing about what they didn't have. Instead, they appreciated what they did. They found pleasure in simple things. A card game with friends, a good meal, and laughter around the kitchen table. Helping others. And most of all, seeing their children do things and go places that they would have never imagined for themselves. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in between, we have all had people like that in our lives. People like Kamala's parents, who crossed oceans because they believed in the promise of America. People like Tim's parents, who taught him about the importance of service. Good, hard-working people who weren't famous or powerful, but who managed in countless ways to leave this country just a little bit better than they found it. As much as any policy or program, I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of Civil War, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about. And I believe that's why if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors, if we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States, and Tim Walz as the next Vice President of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in. And together, we too will build a country that is more secure and more just, more equal, and more free. So let's get to work. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Dang. Obama hitting the podium with his hand after his speech at the DNC over there in Chicago tonight. Wow, guys. This is really something, I tell you. History in the making. There he is. Look at the faces of these folks. I think that was Tim Walz there. Had a very serious look. Obama not smiling too much. There he's giving us a smile, finally. He started with a smile. There he goes, ending with a smile. And it's gone. It's gone. No more smile. Very serious. You know, it's interesting to just pay attention to these little details here as this carries on. They keep talking about how weird Trump is, how weird J.D. Vance is, how weird people are that are talking about crowd sizes. But I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. That's weird. And that's the media narrative. They keep talking about joy. Now they keep talking about hope. We got a new speaker coming out here. I will transfer over in just a moment. But man, this is really, really, I'm at a loss of words. It's kind of strange, to be frank.
Thou who has brought us thus far along the way, you are the one who brews over the days
Bishop
of
Samuel
our
L.
lives.
Green Sr. from Florida.
And without you, we would be nothing. So we lift our hopes and hearts to thee. And we pause tonight to say thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for giving this nation the benefits of your mercy. Because all of us can feel that something enthusiastic is rising in the soul of America. And all of us can tell that the tyranny of resentment has finally met its match. The candidacy of Kamala Harris has ignited an era of joy across America. Tonight,
joy.
We thank you that even in the darkest of our pessimistic nights, love has not failed us, and hope has stood its ground.
Hope. Joy.
We who gather do so with audacity.
Hi, Mary.
To believe that there will be compassion in America. So God, deliver us from racism. Deliver us from sexism. Deliver us from evil. And keep us forever in the path we pray. Amen.
It is now time to pray to the Lord. Let us pray to the Lord.
His Eminence Archbishop
Eternal and ever-living God,
Greek Orthodox,
source of goodness and grace, we come before you, seeking your heavenly benediction upon this democratic national convention. Grant unto the nominee for President of these United States, Vice President Kamala Harris, and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, to pursue the highest offices in the land with love, with hope, and with faith in our nation. Grant unto the delegates to engage with their fellow citizens in a spirit of joy and duty, always seeking the best for our country. We also ask special blessings upon President Joseph Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and their family, for he has given a lifetime of service and of sacrifice to the American people. and has stood with nobility and integrity upon the international stage to lead in the best traditions of the United States. Finally, we ask that you protect and defend the armed forces who protect and defend us, so that in peace and security we may offer to you, the one true God, the praise that is in your due. Amen.
All right, let's see what we have next here. Benediction, it says on the screen in the background.
Friends, do I hear a motion to recess until 5:30 tomorrow? Do I hear a second? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. That was one hell of a night. I'm bringing this thing to a close.
Okie dokie. That's a weird way to end it. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. We're snapshotting that. We got it. Boom. Most people had already left. Did you guys see that? I'm going to post this right now and I'll show you. Ha! So I'm going to summarize day 1 and day 2 of the DNC for y'all in just a moment. Just a moment here. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Wow. What a wild experience. Oh my gosh. Posting the crowd real quick. My goodness, how funny. It's so weird that they're obsessed with crowd sizes. It's so weird. They're always talking about crowd sizes. Who cares about crowd sizes? That doesn't mean anything in an election. Come on, what is this? Some kind of popularity contest? Get real, guys. Crowd sizes don't matter. As a matter of fact, nothing in the past matters. What did Obama say? Oh my gosh. This is great, you guys. Wow. Obama said that they can't look in the past. And I was like, wow, you guys can't look in the past. We need to look forward. Don't look at the past. Why can't we look at the past? We could learn from history, right? I mean, that's the way it works. Anyway, let me pull up the crowd size again for y'all. This is cool. Thank you all for joining me once again. I'm Vince Taglavia. I'm just talking about the DNC, some breaking news, etc. We're going to go for a little bit longer tonight. Talk about what's going on. Rumi says bread and circuses. Lisa says people left to go enjoy free food and hotel stipends. My gosh. Let's see. Let's look at that final crowd size. Right as the last speaker went. This is right after Obama spoke and everything. They had their couple prayers. And we have a lot of empty bleachers. Look at that. This is the crowd at the closing. Do you guys look at all this? I mean, this whole side is about maybe 25% filled, maybe 30%. Pretty wild stuff, man. Imagine that. Anyway, doesn't matter. The crowd sizes don't matter, though, guys. We need to, be joyful and hopeful. That's interesting. Oh yeah, I was going to summarize this for you. Why don't we? So I just posted this. I summarized it, I think, pretty well. Let me know. Trump bad. Joy, joy, joy. They're weird. So weird. Joy, joy, joy. We are all people. Listen to our relatable, heartfelt stories. Hope and joy. Trump bad. Democracy. Trump bad. Joy. Weird. Joy. Trump bad. Action. 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 Hope. That was it. And that's just my opinion, guys. That's just my opinion. We have some video from Cam Higby here. He's boots on the ground. Personality at Today's America News and Commentary, field reporting, undercover journalism at Cam Higby. He posted this video earlier today, just to see the crowd, the protesting crowd out there in Chicago. This is what he shared with us. Let's see, maybe we could do a little full screen action. You could see a little bit of pushing back and forth between law enforcement and some of the crowd that got a little bit more riley. As we know, a few arrests were made. We saw at least three U-Hauls in Chicago today, unloading signs and whatnot. So, interesting day. Oof. You know, this is just... Can't we all just get along? I mean, they're inside, they're talking about hope, they're talking about all this stuff, yet here we are. So, also today we got news about RFK potentially joining the Trump campaign in some way. That would be interesting. Trump said he's up for it, and I wonder what that would look like. I mean, they didn't allow RFK on the ballot in New York, so that might be his next best move. That would be a pretty powerful team, by the way, and then they would get probably some of those RFK supporters over to Trump's side. California didn't support Kamala Harris. Is that what I heard earlier today? Did you guys see this? I'm going to go over to the comments here real quick. Thank you, Energy, for tuning in. Good to see you. Man, we saw Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and some other people today. Black Jester, thank you for hanging in there. And Rumi. Black Jester said, did the protesters finally get off the seesaw? I don't know. Oh, yeah, they were all on the playground yesterday, and the cops pushed them out. And then today they secured it with additional security, meaning fences. Here we go. M. Hoff. Kamala has fought against anti-Semitism her whole career, he says. Interesting clip there. What would Democrats do without the police? My goodness, guys. This is Cam Higbee. I'm just looking here. My gosh, y'all. This was interesting. They seem to be really... It's interesting to me that every single person that spoke today and yesterday had a very... Testing. Gosh, can't I just have a nice, uninterrupted live stream, please? I'm back. I apologize. It seems to me like every single speaker was contacted and told, hey, when you write your speech, unless Barack Obama wrote all of them, it's like they were almost told, hey, when you write your speech, make sure you include a personal, heartfelt story, to just be relatable, get emotional, all this stuff. Because every single person had an emotional story, like I said, whether it was a lot of medical stuff, family passing away, traditions, childhood memories. Almost every speaker had them. And they talked a lot about joy without showing a ton of joy, I noticed. Man, we're going to have a wild rest of the year because you could just see, the narrative, right? You could see all the headlines. All the headlines have the word joy in them the last 2-3 days. Before that, all the headlines had the word weird in them. Now we have an onslaught of joy and weird and hope and looking forward, and it's strange to watch. It really is, to watch this history unfold. Pretty bizarre stuff, guys. That was difficult to watch, so I commend you guys for sticking through it with me. It was quite fun, I'll admit. Ellie said, California and Michigan, Gavin and Gretchen must think they have a chance when Kamala gets pushed out. Oh, that's interesting, Ellie. Michigan held out too, in the vote. That's very interesting. It seems like there's rumors going around that Kamala pushed Joe Biden out. Joe Biden saying that's not the case. Okay, so, but we also had something about Barack Obama and the Biden family still not being on good terms, actually. And did you guys see Nancy Pelosi last night cheering for Joe Biden? It was weird. People were saying she looked guilty and unhappy. Here she is. So this is Nancy Pelosi chanting "We Love Joe" from yesterday, day one. And just look at her. That's it. People are saying she looks incredibly guilty. And this is after the rumors that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for Joe Biden stepping down. I remember after Joe Biden said, I'm not running, and then Kamala stood up, and then overnight she went from the worst VP in history to the greatest candidate the world could ever imagine. That's going to bring us hope and fix America and all the problems that we see today that they didn't fix over the last 4 years, like inflation, crime rates going up, people losing their homes, homelessness, drug addiction, the open border, all these things that are a problem. They're going to be fixed now, don't worry, even though they could have already done a lot of work for that. Raising taxes being proposed, all this crazy stuff from Kamala. Anyway, they say that Nancy forced him out and basically said, Joe, this is the rumor on the streets. Joe, you either leave the easy way or leave the hard way, essentially, as a paraphrase. That is the rumor. It could be, it's just a rumor, guys. But this look on her face as she cheers, we love Joe. I mean, maybe she's just sleepy. I don't know. But that was an interesting little thing from yesterday. I also noticed just the timing of the crowd being shown by the cameras at the DNC. As soon as they talk about diversity, it cuts to a guy in a turban. As soon as they talk about, race, they cut to somebody with darker skin. As soon as they talk about one thing, there's just like they've got the person ready to cut to. It's a little much. It's a little strange, if you ask me. I don't know if I love that. I feel like it's very manipulative, right? You guys notice this stuff? Anyway, guys, let's take another quick look here. Anything breaking? Let's see what Land is saying. Land, Obama has a lot of sweet-sounding poison. Let's see what Land says. Oh my gosh. Land of Illusion, by the way, if you're not following, go follow Land of Illusion 1. We've been doing spaces. She'll help co-host with me. Obama has a lot of sweet-sounding poison. Literally everything he's suggesting Kamala Walls will do has been tried for the last 3.5 years. What has it delivered? Inflation, war, Taliban parades, racial division, collapsing test scores, 100,000 fentanyl deaths a year, censorship, 10 million plus illegals, urban decay, weaponized government, poverty, national decline. If you like all that, then go ahead, vote Harris Walls. I'll repost that. That's a good one. Wow. Yep. I'm just going to put a smiley in here. I don't know which. Anyway, we go to the comments. Hey, Trash Man, how you doing over there? By the way, if you're listening over on DLive, I'm going to release the chest again. I don't know if that worked. So if you're listening on DLive, I'm going to release the chest, okay? And I'm going to wait like 30 seconds. So get ready to collect those rewards on DLive. Actually, I can't. Oh, I guess they must have deleted. They must have delivered already. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see. Did you guys get those? I don't think you did. That's weird. They disappeared. That's weird, guys. I'm sorry. I hope that we'll do it again soon. We'll do another gift thing soon. But Pilled has a thing too. How do I do this? Bear with me here. I haven't been streaming as much as I normally do. Scratch offs, release scratch offs. Little reward thing. All right, so we'll see what's there, guys. Let's see. Brock, thank you for tuning in. Angelo, he's just a liar. Can't believe I fell for him when I was 18. Yeah, we learn. Sometimes we're gullible. But anyway, guys, I think I'm exhausted. I haven't even had dinner. I'm gonna end this thing. If you're not following me on YouTube, follow me over there. I appreciate your support and thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, thank you for commenting, all that stuff from all across the board. I'm gonna probably join a space on X tonight. Maybe not though. We'll see. If I do, you'll see it, and you're happy. I'm happy to see anybody join in and hang out. But it's kind of up in the air. I'm tired. I might just eat and then just hang out and fall asleep early. We'll see. Those spaces could be dangerous, but this stuff is fun to talk about. So we'll see, guys. Just stay posted. Turn on your notifications on X and elsewhere. I'll see you all soon. Take care. God bless and God.